Hello everyone, welcome to the YouTube channel of Victory IS. As you already know that we are talking about the current and the contemporary issues pertaining to environment and ecology. In the same series, today we are going to take up the topics, the current developments, the contemporary issues that were seen in the news with respect to topic called climate change. You already know that climate change is a very important topic for the prelims as well as mains examination. It has been asked almost every year in the mains examination, and one or two questions are related to this topic in the prelims examination. This is a very big topic. However, today's session we are going to keep it short. We have divided the sub parts of this topic into different sessions. So, we will come up with several other episodes which would be directly or indirectly related to this topic. In today's session, let us see some 3-4 news articles that were related to climate change and could be a potential question for the prelims examination 2026. So, let us begin our session. So, let us talk about the first topic. So, first topic is about the Just Stop Oil Climate Activist. So, basically this is a movement. This is a movement which started in Europe and basically in United Kingdom, wherein the people who belong to this movement, they are asking the national and the international governments to stop the exploration, development and production of the fossil fuels and fossil oils, basically the fossil oils. So, their target is stopping the fossil oils to be explored, to be given license, to be developed and to be produced. Obviously, they are targeting the problem of climate change. So, that is why they are said to be climate activists. So, just remember this movement, this mission called Just Stop Oil. So, it is a UK based mission or movement which was in the headlines in the last few months. Basically, they have been protesting using non-violence. Their protest is non-violent, non-cooperative. They are non-cooperating with the government agencies. So, basically they go for protest. They have been to, if you know, British Academy Film Awards. So, they have been there wearing t-shirts, and on those t-shirts there were taglines like, you know, just stop oil or look up something. So, these are the taglines that they have been using in order to register their protest against the licensing and the exploration of the fossil oil. Okay. Then this date is not important, this date is of 2022. The Stop Oil Group stick themselves to frame of the Last Supper of Leonardo da Vinci at the Royal Academy in London. So, as I said, they have been protesting at several art theatres in Europe and especially in UK. So, this is a group which was launched in 2022. It is a coalition, it is a movement of groups of people which are working together to ensure that government make commitment to stop licensing and production of new fossil fuel. Organizers from the climate groups, Extinction Rebellion, basically these are the smaller groups which have come together to lead this movement. Funding of the group comes from donations, and they work on the principle of non-violence. Direct action means they go directly for the protest. They also go with resort to non-violent civil resistance. It is a way followed by them to demand their rights, freedom and justice. So, this is a group, just remember this group, that it is a UK based group recently formed, created in 2022. What is their objective? Their objective is to stop the governments to give license and further production of the new fossil fuels. So just write this much in your notes copy. Okay, moving to the next topic. So next topic is basically a partnership between Japan and Indian Meteorological Department. Indian Meteorological Department has gone for a partnership with Japan, and obviously UNDP is also the part of this program, you'll understand, because it is related to climate change. They have launched this initiative to hasten climate action across 10 states and UTs of India. So basically this initiative, this partnership is aiming to deal with the problem of climate change and the efforts that have been taken at the level of India to deal with this problem. So Japan is basically providing financial as well as technological help to India in the support of the actions taken with respect to climate change. So this initiative will extend support to nationally determined contributions in a bid to achieve net zero emission. If you know, net zero emission target of India is by 2070. India is saying that by 2070 will effectively release no carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. That is the carbon neutral status. It means that whatever amount of CO2 will be released in the atmosphere, the same amount of carbon sequestration or carbon sinking will take place. So net effect would be zero, and that target is by 2070. Initiative will be launched in association with IMD, already we have discussed. At ministry, there are two ministries involved, Ministry of Earth Science and Ministry of New and Renewable Energy. These are the two ministries that will work together, and they are trying to basically enhance or hasten the climate action efforts of India. They will promote climate mitigation by placing clean energy infrastructure, obviously. So clean energy is the most important aspect of this partnership, because if you do not promote the energy generation mechanism with the help of the renewable or clean sources, the purpose will not be achieved. Anyway, so low emission technologies is in important sectors like health, transport, micro and small medium enterprises. So basically Japan would be providing the technological as well as financial support. Let me give you some more details about it. So this initiative will also manifest resilient climate planning. So basically it is trying to deal with the problems of the climate change. So the infrastructure, be it related to agriculture, be it related to commercial activities, they are going to be resilient, they has to be strong enough to deal with the problem of climate change at the grassroots level via climate information flow systems. Basically the informations related to climate change will be transmitted to the grassroots level across 30 gram panchayats. So this is what they have been planning in the beginning. It is aimed at promoting green jobs. So basically people would be given trainings with respect to the renewable sources of energy. So they would be given green jobs or green entrepreneurship that would be related to sectors such as renewable energy by providing them the required skill set and the training. This will cover nearly 2000 people, not important at all. For this project, Japan has given some $5 million US as the climate grant. So that is what I said. Japan is not only providing the technological support, it is also providing the financial support to India. This initiative aims to penetrate the climate action efforts even to the grassroots level. So It has been done with the help of Japan along with UNDP, United Nations Development Program. Then a very important COP of UNFCCC. I am talking about COP 26, which was held in 2022 in Glasgow. Glasgow is in Ireland. So, obviously, Prime Minister of India visited Glasgow. This COP is related to, I have already told several times, this is related to UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. This is the highest body with respect to the UNFCCC, with respect to taking different important decisions. This body meets every year at different places across the world. So, in 2022 they met at Glasgow. Next year, not 2022, it happened in 2021, I am sorry. So, this happened in 2021, and in Glasgow in 2022 they met in Egypt, and in 23 they met in Baku, not Baku, Dubai, and then 24 they met in Baku, and 25 they are going to meet in November in Brazil. So, just remember these things. Anyway, India has ratified pledges made by the Prime Minister in Glasgow. So, basically it is talking about this COP summit, COP meeting last November to accelerate India's reliance on renewable energy to power economy and be effectively fossil fuel free by, so basically it is talking about the net carbon neutral status. So, that I told you in the beginning also that India is going to be achieve net carbon neutral status by 2070. So, call it the carbon neutral status or effectively fossil fuel free. It means that India will, whatever amount of carbon will be emitted in the atmosphere, the same amount of carbon capture would be done through different mechanisms, which I have already discussed in the past series, session, if you have seen that. Anyway, moving further, so these are the India's INDCs. INDC means intended nationally determined contributions. It is also called NDCs, nationally determined contributions, or intended. So, basically the countries of the world, in order to curtail the temperature rise, global temperature rise below 1.5 degrees Celsius or maximum by 2 degrees Celsius by the end of 21st century, they have given certain declarations, and those declarations are named as INDC or nationally determined contributions. So, obviously India, being a responsible state at the global fora, has given its INDC. See, India gave its INDC way back in 2015 after the Paris summit, but it has been updated in 2022, in 2021 Glasgow, and in 2022 this final plan of India, this final NDC of India was shared with the United Nations Environment Program. Anyway, so these are the 5 important declarations or the INDCs of India. The first is reaching non-fossil energy capacity of 500 gigawatt by 2030. So, you need to know that at present India is somewhere around 242, or you can remember nearly 250 gigawatt. To be more exact, to be more precise, 242 gigawatt of what is being produced by non-fossil energy sources. So that is the installed capacity of India with respect to non-fossil energy sources. So again, India is targeting to achieve it, to make it to 500 gigawatts. So there is a long journey to go, but India is in the right direction, because if you look at the second one, where it is saying that 50% of the energy requirements will come from renewable energy sources. It has been already achieved in 2025. It has been already, if you follow PIB, you will get to know that this has been already achieved by the government of India. Nearly 50% of the India's total installed capacity of energy is produced from the renewable sources of energy. So this is a significant feat for India. Anyway, moving further, 8 billion carbon emissions are to be reduced by 2030. So reduce carbon intensity by 45% by 2030. This is another target. Carbon intensity means the amount of carbon emissions per unit of economic activities. Those economic activities could be measured in terms of energy, like at times it is measured in the amount of carbon emissions per unit of kilowatt hour, or at times it is also measured percentage of GDP. So carbon intensity is nothing but the measurement of the carbon emissions per unit of economic activities. That economic activity could be in terms of energy or could be in terms of GDP. Then this is the target. Then achieve the target of net zero by 2070. That is what I told you, that India is targeting for achieving net carbon neutral status by 2070. These are the important INDCs of India. You should not forget this. This is a very potential question for the prelims examination. Moving further. Then there is one very important news related to UNESCO. If you know UNESCO, UNESCO declares a number of natural as well as historical sites, natural sites as well as the historical monuments as the World Heritage Sites. So in the same line, certain glaciers have been given the tag of World Heritage Sites. So with respect to that, there was a news. Let's have a look at that news. So recently UNESCO and IUCN released this report which outlines 50 World Heritage Sites and provides suggestions for their protection. So basically target is that they are trying to protect those natural and historically important sites for the future generation. Anyway, let's have a look that what all glaciers have been included. World Heritage glaciers cover nearly 10% of the Earth's total glaciarized area. So the World Heritage glaciers that have been declared, they are covering nearly 10% of the total glacial area in the country. And obviously it plays a crucial role in sustaining life on the earth. However, they are retreating. That is the bone of contention or a point of concern for the governments of the world. They are retreating at an accelerated rate, and it is all happening because of the climate change. If you know the report of IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, it says that already the global temperature on an average has increased by nearly 1.2 degrees Celsius. So on an average it has already increased, the global temperature has already increased by 1.2 degrees Celsius compared to the pre-industrial levels. So that is the reason that these glaciers are retreating at a very fast pace, and in order to protect them, UNESCO has taken this initiative by declaring them as the World Heritage Site or World Heritage Glaciers. So these glaciers include the Dolomites of Italy. If you have been to Italy or if you have seen the pictures of Italy, you should have a look at this Dolomites of Italy. It is a mountainous landscape, a spectacular I would say that the most stunning mountainous landscape of Italy. In fact, these mountains, which are mainly made up of calcium and magnesium carbonate, they turn pink or orangish during the dusk and the dawn time. In the morning, just before the morning, in the dawn time and during the dusk time, they turn pinkish, they turn orangish. So they change their color, and that phenomena is given a name called Androsadira. So it is a Latin word, but this phenomena could be a question because this was in the news. So remember this word, Androsadira. And obviously there is another glacier, Tanzania's Mount Kilimanjaro. Mount Kilimanjaro is the highest peak of Africa. Then world's highest glacier near Mount Everest, and longest glacier in Alaska. So these have been given the tag of World Heritage Sites by UNESCO. Moving further, so basically, as I told you that a World Heritage Site is a place. It could be a monument, it could be a natural place, it could be a historical site which is listed by UNESCO for its special cultural or physical importance. So the list of World Heritage Sites is maintained by UNESCO under this program, World Heritage Program. And obviously there is a committee called UNESCO World Heritage Committee. So there are more than 1,000 sites, nearly 1,200, 1,300 World Heritage Sites across the world. In India there are 42 such sites. So you can read about it from the perspective of art and culture as well. But again, let's move further. Let's see the another news with respect to the last news with respect to climate change. Again, it is a very important topic for mains, but we'll try and figure out the important things that could be asked in the prelims examination. So climate change altering Indian monsoon. So as per the recent studies, there has been a remarkable impact of climate change on Indian monsoon. The increasing fluctuations in monsoon, the intensity and the frequency of monsoon has become highly unpredictable because of the climate change. So that is the meaning of increasing fluctuations. The places which were receiving huge amount of rainfall, it cannot be predicted with certainty that they'll receive those amount of rainfall as they used to receive in the previous years. So unpredictability has become very high. Long dry periods, short spells of heavy rains, monsoon is becoming less frequent and more intense. So not every time less frequent, it is becoming basically non-predictable. So for a particular year it could be less frequent, for a particular year it could be more frequent. So that unpredictability associated with it has increased significantly, and it is all happening because of the climate change. Shift in low pressure and depression zones south of their position, this has resulted in excessive rainfall. Obviously, if low pressure zone would be created, you know that low pressure zones or the cells are responsible for rainfall. So that results in excessive rainfall. So basically what happens, let's say this is the earth's surface and over here there is some area where there is low pressure. This low pressure has developed because of the movement of this air parcel upward, and as it moves upwards, it undergoes adiabatic cooling, and due to this adiabatic cooling, the temperature of this air parcel becomes down and ultimately it undergoes condensation, and due to condensation the clouds are formed and ultimately the rainfall. So this is how the low pressure is supporting the excessive rainfall in MP, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, and many other areas. So you need not to remember these areas, but you should know that it has impacted significantly almost every part of India. Increasing pest attacks, if you see, pest attacks have been increasing because of climate change. Basically, this climate change is causing changes in all the parameters of the atmosphere, be it insolation, be it heating, be it pressure, be it the humidity, the amount of humidity present in the atmosphere. So all the elements of atmosphere are changing because of the climate change, and that is causing huge unpredictability with respect to almost everything. So pest attacks have been increasing, the insects have been growing unprecedented manner for no reason. So the scientists have the faith that this is happening because of the climate change. See, climate change is not the only factor, but it is one dominant factor. Change in productivity, in agriculture, increasing water scarcity, everything is happening because of this climate change. So moving further, so this is what has been happening with respect to Indian climate. There is a grim forecast with respect to the Indian monsoon when it comes to the impact of climate change. So it is saying that as temperature rise over both land and ocean due to climate change, the enhanced moisture content, as I said, that if temperature will increase, let's say this is some area, if temperature increases, so the air will rise up. So ascent of air happens, and because of this ascent it will undergo adiabatic cooling, ultimately condensation and cloud formation. So enhanced moisture content from the ocean will lead to more instances of extreme rainfall. It is one of the reasons that the Uttarakhand has been, in fact, the states like Himachal Pradesh, Punjab this year experienced cloud burst situations. It is all because of the climate change. It is not the only factor, but it is the dominant factor. This will happen even at monsoon, circulation will weaken. So everything related to the monsoon, Indian monsoon, is seen to be changing, is seen to be impacted by the climate change. So this is what this article is trying to talk about. You should know that the India has heated up by 0.7 degrees Celsius against the global average of 0.2. As I told you, the IPCC is saying that the temperature has already increased by 1.2 degrees Celsius compared to the pre-industrial levels. But that increase in India is nearly 0.7 degrees Celsius. If you go to the polar regions, that increase is nearly 1.5 degrees Celsius. So in the polar region, the increase in the temperature is more compared to the equatorial region. So India broadly lies in the tropical area. So over here temperature increase is relatively lesser, but overall the temperature of the earth has increased by 1.2 degrees Celsius compared to the pre-industrial levels. So remember these facts. Will come up with a lot more information with respect to climate change directly and indirectly. In the next session we shall be talking about the pollution related issues. So stay with us, keep watching and keep liking and subscribing our channel. Thank you so very much.